Hello, this is Nick Lee,
And this is Akira LeVa.
and today we're going to be commentating and reviewing the movie The Lone Ranger starring Johnny Depp as Tonto.
Including Army Hammer as the title role, aka the Lone Ranger.
Let's get to it. The Lone Ranger was a film that was made in 2013, produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, I think it was,
Yeah.
and directed by Gore Verbinski. There were two main characters in the role. One of them, sorry guys, I don't know what it is with me today. My throat hurts. Anyway, there are two characters played in the main roles. One was Johnny Depp, and the other was Army Hammer. Army Hammer plays John Reid, also known as the Lone Ranger in the film, and Johnny Depp plays Tonto. Together, these characters come as a duo and actually fight off the immoral actions of the corrupt and ultimately bring justice to the old American West.
And while this is true, there are more characters seen in this movie. We see James Badge Dale, Helena Bonham Carter, Barry Pepper, Ruth Wilson. All these people featured in supporting roles in the film. And actually, this is the first featured film to use the Lone Ranger title in over 32 years.
Anyway, Nick, my personal review of the movie just wasn't that good, and I have a couple of reasons for that. One is just that if this movie's point was just to be a reboot of the earlier film made, Pirates of the Caribbean, also directed by Gore Verbinski, maybe the film wouldn't have been a total failure after all. I mean, just look at Johnny Depp, for example. He's an amazing actor, but he's mimicking too many things from Jack Sparrow. The costume designers from Lone Ranger dressed Johnny Depp too similarly to Jack Sparrow when they dressed him as Tonto. Tonto was actually a man after revenge, similar to how Jack Sparrow was after revenge. And also, Johnny Depp just throws in those casual wide-eyed grins the way he usually does in too many parts of the film. Overall, this film was just way too similar to Pirates of the Caribbean. Had this film come earlier before Pirates of the Caribbean, it might have been a little bit more successful, but it was just, no, I didn't enjoy it.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. But anyways, Kira, I also thought the movie was bad, but for my own reasons, of course. I mean, the war between white men and Indians for the removal of the Indian land has been going on for centuries. And I don't think the movie portrayed everything the way they should have. You know, obviously there's going to be violence in this whole feud, but there's one scene where we see William Fichtner playing Cavendish eat the heart of Barry Pepper playing Captain Fuller. And this movie is aimed for kids. Kids shouldn't be seeing a man eat another man's heart. That's just my thoughts on the movie, though.
Frankly, I agree with you, Nick. This movie was just way too gruesome. I mean, this is a Walt Disney film. This is made for a family. This is a family film. Now, I know the Lone Ranger is supposed to have some violence and gun shooting, but it shouldn't have been as dark as it was.
Yeah, like seeing the scene with Cavendish eating the heart of his victims. This is aimed for kids. You don't want to give kids that thought, especially in Disney.
I agree. And for God's sake, this movie was 2.5 hours long. 2.5 hours. Not every film needs to be Lord of the Rings, okay? And first of all, the cast, I feel like half the cast could have just been cut out of the film, and it wouldn't have changed the movie's plot at all.
Exactly. I feel like they should have just sold the script off to some other production company, and they could have cleaned it up. They could have taken out some of the useless characters, like Gil Birmingham and Helena Bonham Carter. They didn't bring any significance to the film. They could have been taken out, and it still would have been the Lone Ranger.
Exactly. And also, I'm going back to two characters now. John Reid, the Lone Ranger, and Tonto. These are, obviously when we think of these characters, they're supposed to have a profound relationship. But in the movie, they don't have that kind of chemistry. These are two iconic Western American figures, and they're heroes of the Old West, serving justice. I mean, for crying out loud, if you don't have chemistry together, what kind of movie is this? It breaks the traditional views. There was even a scene in the movie where John Reid, the Lone Ranger, leaves Tonto in the dirt, about to be eaten by scorpions alive. For God's sake, why would you leave him there? That's pointless. You're either a very bad friend or you're very racist. One of those two.
Yeah, also with the scene, they're walking through the desert, and they're just having a bit of an argument, and then they leave each other. If you have a bond that's strong, it's not going to be broken just because you have an argument.
Exactly. In my personal views, I would rate this movie 6. And even that is a close call.
That's all, folks.